Welcome to our coverage of ASUG Annual Conference and Sapphire Now 2014. We're in the ASUG News Studio, sponsored by NTT Data, and I'm joined by Jim O'Gara of Synactive. And today we're going to talk about building a better user experience. Right, Jim, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Synactive is a supporter of this studio. We really appreciate that. And from my understand, user experience obviously was a hot topic today. Bill was talking about creating simpler experiences for SAP customers. But this is something you've been doing for 15 years. You already have 1,000 customers. So give me an example, or give me an understanding of what Synactive does.
Sure, I think simple is the actual best way to put it. I was really glad to hear Bill say that. We've been in the business, like you said, for 15 years. Our founders came from SAP directly.
Right.
They understood what the need was, and we've been building on that for the last 15 years in steps that go along with the maturation of the market. Remember, at the beginning of the 15 years ago, most people were still desktop bound. That's
Right.
not the case today.
Right, and yeah, how has that really evolved? People were used to these older SAP systems that were complex, they're German engineered complex systems, and they were on a desktop. And so how has that evolved the demand for now having these simpler systems? How have you seen that evolve recently?
Well, for us, I think what we're seeing out in the market is really something of a evolution of, just like you've seen, we're seeing a decline obviously in the PC market.
Right.
The laptop is the desktop today. No one really has a desktop. I think there's, I'm sure, a few. But mostly it's the evolution of the market for tablets, whether you look at iOS or Android, or even your handheld devices. And no matter what complexity there is in the SAP environment, and it's still a very rich and complex environment, the front end needs to be simpler. It's always been sort of walled off. IT owns the SAP environment, you take what we give you. With Synactive, you get the opportunity truly to take a look at the environment and say, hey, we can separate the two of them. We can put a good front end without interfering with the back end. And I was very happy to hear Bill this morning mention ConAgra in one of his speeches, because the front end for ConAgra is Synactive. And we're happy to see that.
Great, and what, for a company like ConAgra, or any company that you work with, what's the value of a simpler interface?
I think it's time, performance, lack of error-prone capability. And the issue is that if you take most standard SAP transactions as they were built, they can be anywhere from 16 to 25 screens to complete a single transaction. Wouldn't it be nice if you could move all that into a single screen, or one or two depending on your form factor? So on a tablet you may not want as much as you put on a 17-inch screen.
Right.
The fact of simplifying it down using natural language, and most importantly for the business user, knowing that he can go to IT as a friend, because IT can reach out and help them because they do not have to interfere with the back end. All of what we do is on the presentation layer.
Right, the presentation layer, that's big. When we talked earlier, you talked about, you gave me the example of Microsoft Windows as a front-end presentation layer. Talk about how what you guys do is similar to what people may typically think of what sometimes most people use is Microsoft Windows.
Sure. Well, I do this in a lot of presentations. Go to meet with customers. I ask them, how many of you folks use DOS? All right, and almost nobody raises their hand. I said, well, how many use Windows? And then they all raise their hand. I said, well, if you're using Windows, you're really using DOS. What Microsoft has done is built a presentation layer called Windows to keep you from the hardcore back end of DOS. If you take a look at what we've done with our Liquid UI technology, is we've built a complete presentation front end, and it can be direct connect using the old technology called GUI-XT, which is still robust and efficient. And if you want to do it in a web environment, you can do it as well with ours. And the nice thing about the way we've built our technology and the term liquid is that if you build it for your desktop, you can take the same code and pour it in a liquefied manner into your tablets and phones. One environment for development, one sustaining engineering environment.
That's great, and yeah, that's really what seems to be driving the user experience demand is these newer devices. Is that what you're seeing? Is that the key demand that you're getting from people, or are these
Absolutely.
on tablets?
I think that the interest is two sides, and I use this term a lot too. Besides the Windows analogy, I also say beautification or efficiency. All right. Now with SAP, the systems were built for efficient use. And what we can provide them is some very efficient use of the systems. Can we beautify it? Absolutely. But first and foremost, people don't go and buy a back end of SAP because they want to beautify the environment. They want to make it efficient, make it cost effective. Using things like HANA even creates more of that impetus to do this. And the front end has been the lagging feature for a lot of customers. That's why we've seen 1,000 customers over the years come to us, and I encourage everybody, take a look at everything that SAP has to offer. Please do. Also come by our booth and take a look at ours. I think you'd be surprised at what we have, how simple it is, and we can actually form, using the old term, the old Cold War term, we can make détente between the IT group and the business users.
Great, and yeah, before we wrap up here, so you have a booth here. You
A14.
A14.
You bet.
And so people can stop by
And we've got the mermaid, so you better stop by and take a look at it.
A mermaid.
We do, Liquid UI, it's a theme.
All right, well, I'm going to have to go check that out.
Absolutely, look forward to it.
Well, I appreciate your time, Jim.
Absolutely, thank you, sir.
All right, and thank you for joining us. For more SAP stories, head to asugnews.com.